Hello friends, my name is Kalb Shah and today we will see one of the most important chapter of CA final, that is business combination. And business combination is almost the most important chapter in CA, either in old course or new course. But in new course consolidation is given more importance, though we will see business combination. It is erstwhile it was named in old course amalgamation, but in new course it is business combination, and we will see what are the nitty-gritties. This is my classes, Kalp Shah, GST and CA classes. You can opt us for GST and other subjects and get the good marks, and you can also like, share and subscribe our channel. Thank you. We are coming directly to the point. Ind AS 103, business combination and corporate restructuring, we will study from the CA Institute module. Okay, so what does the module says? Business, after studying this chapter, learning objectives, you would be able to understand various terms used in 103, that is business combination. Then apart from that, examine the key differences in between Ind AS 103 and existing accounting standards, identifying the acquiree enterprises, determine the acquisition date, that is the date on which you acquire the company, purchase consideration, that means what you paid for acquiring that company under various situation, and contingent consideration. This is new concept under Ind AS, contingent consideration. That means I will pay extra this much in addition to purchase consideration if you achieve this much profits. Say for example, allocate the purchase price, recognize the assets and liability of the acquired entity, examine the measurement principle, calculate the goodwill or bargain purchase. Here capital reserve is known as bargain purchase. Evaluate contingent payment to employee shareholders and acquire share based payment, awards exchange for awards held by the acquiree employees. Integrated subsequent measurement and accounting principle of reacquired rights, contingent liability and indemnification asset and contingent consideration. Appraise the disclosure requirements in case of business combination. Account for distribution of for non-cash assets to owners as dividend in accordance with appendix A, and distribution of non-cash assets to owners of Ind AS AS 10 Ind AS 10 events after the reporting period. These are the learning objectives. We are directly coming to the chapter overview, definition and elements. Then acquisition method, there is definition of business combination. What is definition of business, we will see. Then in the acquisition method part, we will see identifying the acquirer, determining the acquisition date. Then PC, after deciding the PC, we will determination of purchase consideration, allocation of purchase consideration, and recognize. After deciding the PC, we will allocate the PC and recognize and measurement of non-controlling interest. That is all part of this chapter. And under determining PC, we will see identifiable assets acquired and the liabilities assumed, goodwill or bargain from a bargain purchase, or goodwill or gain from a bargain purchase, non-controlling interest in the acquiree. Then we will see subsequent measurement and accounting, common control transactions. Then disclosure. Subsequent measurement accounting contains reacquired asset, contingent liabilities, indemnification of assets, contingent consideration. These are some basic things. Introduction, we can see the introduction. Please pause the page and have an introduction. Have a look at the introduction for 10-15 seconds. I am not going through it. You can pause or you can download the CA Institute module and read the introduction. Then next is mergers and demergers. Merger is a legal process by which two or more companies are joined together to form a new entity, or one or more companies are absorbed by another company, and as a consequence the amalgamating company loses its existence and its shareholders become the shareholders of the new or amalgamated company. That means it is a possibility that A and B company merges and they form a new company called C company. ABC are no more in existence, and the new company C is only in existence after the amalgamation of A and B. In the same way, A can absorb B, means existence of A will continue, but B will be absorbed by A. That means B will no longer be in existence. And the shareholders of B will become the shareholders of A. And in the first case, shareholders of A and B will become the shareholders of C, newly formed company. Demerger is an arrangement whereby some part or some undertaking of one company is transferred to another company which operates completely separate from the original company. Shareholders of the original company are usually given an equivalent stake of ownership in the new company. The first is an exercise in corporate restructuring, and the second is give effect to kind of family partition in case of family owned enterprises. A demerger is also done to help of each segment operate more smoothly as they can now focus on more specific tasks. Demerger sums we will see here. Say for example, there was Reliance Industries Limited. Before Anil Ambani and Mukesh Ambani partitioned, there was only one company, Reliance Industries Limited. Then according to the partition portion or share of each brother, Mukesh Ambani got Reliance Industries Limited, and Anil Ambani gets like Reliance Power and Reliance Communication and many other companies. So earlier the shareholder had only one share of Reliance Industries Limited, but after demerger of Reliance Industries Limited, the same shareholder will be having share of three companies: so, Reliance Industries Limited, Reliance Power, and Reliance Communication. So Reliance Communication and Reliance Power are demerged from the Reliance Industries Limited, and Reliance Industries Limited is still in existence. So Reliance Industries Limited had the communication assets, that means telecommunication towers, etc. That all the assets are transferred to the Reliance Communication. That is a Reliance Communication Limited, which is a new company which is formed out of the demerger. So all the assets relating to telecommunication business of Reliance Industries Limited are transferred to Reliance Communication Limited. In the same manner, all the liabilities of the Reliance Industries Limited which are related to telecommunication business, that is telephone business, are transferred to Reliance Communication Limited. But Reliance Industry is not paying, or Reliance Communication Limited is not paying anything to the shareholders, or both the companies are not paying anything to each other, but the shareholders of Reliance Industries Limited will get share in Reliance Communication Limited or Reliance Power Limited in the same proportion as they were having shares in Reliance Industries Limited. That means companies are not giving any purchase consideration to each other. Just Reliance Industries Limited, that is RIL, is transferring its telecommunication assets and liabilities to its newly formed demerged company, that is Reliance Communication Limited. We will see some in detail. Business combination as per Ind AS 103, business combination. The relevant Ind AS name is Ind AS 103, business combination. The necessity of standard on business combination in India assumes importance considering the fact that Indian companies are increasingly stretching their business in foreign countries for best fit business combination. Presently in India, Accounting Standard 14, that is AS 14, accounting for amalgamation, lays out specific treatment for amalgamation, and AS 21, consolidated financial statement, are applied for consolidation. However, it is not matching the global reporting standard. The standards or the procedures which we are presently following under AS 14, accounting for amalgamation, and under AS 21, consolidated financial statement, are not in line with the internationally used methods or internationally famous methods which are generally accepted by all the countries. So we are to bring our methods in line with the international method. Indian government has launched or introduced Ind AS, that is Indian Accounting Standards. They are in line with International Financial Reporting Standard. So after convergence of IFRS and Ind AS, Ind AS 103, which is in line with IFRS 3, takes care of the global requirements in case of business combination worldwide. A business combination is a transaction in which the acquirer obtains the control of another business. That means here there is no 50% stake criteria. Here the criteria is the control of another business. If the acquirer is means the purchasing company and acquiree is a vendor company. If the acquirer company is getting the control of another business, that is called business combination. Here we should get the control of the another business. But here, what is business? The next question arises in our mind. What is business? Business is also defined. The term business is defined as an integrated set of activities and asset that is capable of being conducted and managed for the purpose of providing a return in the form of dividends, lower cost or other economic benefits directly to the investors or other owners, members or participants. That means it is an integrated set of activities and assets. It's not one single activity, it's an integrated set of activities and assets that is capable of. What we will do out of these assets and activities? We will providing or we will conducting and managing to give some return on investment, and that return on investment can be in the form of dividends, that is profits, or lower costs or other economic benefit directly to the investors, and that benefits are directly to the investor. It's not like that they are getting some indirect benefit. Business combination are most common form of business transaction through which companies grows in size rather than organic activities. There can be two types of growth: organic growth, inorganic growth. Organic growth, that means you build your company's reputation, you increase your customers day by day, and in after 5 or 10 years or after 2 to 3 years, depending on the industry, you get a reputation and your company is growing and you get a reputation in the market. That is organic growth. But inorganic growth you can achieve by buying a company which is already established in the market. That is the method of inorganic growth. Business combination or acquisition is different from asset acquisition. The following are the key differences in accounting of an asset acquisition and business combination. If you are acquiring some or all the assets or one assets, then it is asset acquisition, and if you are acquiring the whole business, then it is a business combination. We will see the difference. Business combination: intangible assets including goodwill. First point of difference is intangible assets and including goodwill. What is the treatment in business combination? What is the treatment in acquisition of group of assets under Ind AS? Intangible assets are recognized at fair value if they are separately identifiable. Goodwill is recognized in a separate asset, as a separate asset. Intangible asset acquired as a part. Here in acquisition of assets or group of asset, intangible assets acquired as a part of group of asset would be recognized and measured based on an allocation of the overall cost of the transaction with reference to their relative values. No goodwill will be recognized. Here no goodwill will be recognized. This is simple purchase of one asset or group of asset. You are not acquiring the whole business. That means you can buy 10 machineries or 15 machineries or a set of or group of machineries. Then you are not buying any goodwill. Whatever price is your cost price. But in business combination, whatever you are paying over and above net identifiable assets, it is goodwill. We will see in later this point. But goodwill is something which you pay over and above the net identifiable assets of the acquiree company. Okay. Next point is transaction cost. In business combination, acquisition related costs including stamp duty are expressed in the period in which such costs are incurred and are not included as part of the consideration transferred. This is very important point that was not earlier in the old course or in Indian accounting existing AS 14 accounting for business accounting for अमालगमेशन के एएस में ट्रांजैक्शन कॉस्ट वाला पॉइंट नहीं था. अब यहाँ पे यहाँ पे ये पॉइंट आ गया है। जो ट्रांजैक्शन कॉस्ट है उसको हम बिजनेस कॉम्बिनेशन की कॉस्ट में ऐड नहीं करेंगे इंड एस 103 के तहत। बढ़िए, इन अ बिजनेस कॉम्बिनेशन एक्विजिशन रिलेटेड कॉस्ट दैट इज which are stamp duty are expense in the period in which such costs are incurred and are not included as part of the consideration transferred. Transaction costs are capitalized as a component of the cost of the assets acquired. We will add the stamp duty in the cost of the land or cost of the machinery if any duty we are paying, or if we are occurring or incurring any transaction cost, then we will add that cost under acquisition of assets or a group of assets method. We will add that transaction cost in the cost of the asset, but in business combination method we will not add that in the purchase consideration. It is separately expensed out in the period in which we incur it. The next is deferred tax accounting. The deferred tax are recorded on temporary differences of assets acquired other than goodwill and liabilities assumed in a business combination. We will create a deferred tax asset or deferred tax liability depending on the uh, value at which we acquire it. And under this asset group of asset acquisition method, Ind AS prohibits recognition of deferred taxes or temporary differences that arise upon the initial recognition of an asset or liability in a transaction that is not a business combination, and uh, at the time of the transaction affects neither accounting nor taxable income. That means accordingly no deferred taxes are recognized for temporary differences on asset acquisition. That means whenever we acquire some assets instead of business, then we will not show any deferred tax asset or deferred tax liability. Next is situations where the fair value of the assets acquired and liabilities assumed exceeds the fair value of consideration transferred, referred to as bargain gain, as the gain on bargain purchase. If the fair value of the net assets acquired and liabilities assumed exceeds the fair value of the consideration transferred plus the amount of non-controlling interest and the fair value of the acquirer's previously held equity interest in the acquiree, a gain is recognized by the acquirer in other comprehensive income and accumulated in capital reserve. This is some procedural part we will see later. The asset acquired and liabilities assumed are measured using an allocation of the fair value of the consideration transferred based upon relative fair value. As a result, no gain or gain is recognized for a bargain purchase. We can see this point over here. Asset acquisition. An entity, first of all we will see this goodwill point or this bargain purchase point. Let me put it in a manner. Say for example, A company acquired B company 80% stake, and prior to that date A company already had 20% stake in B, which it purchased at 100 rupees, and here it is acquiring 80% stake in, say for example, 1200 rupees. The on date of acquisition, that is 1st 2020, the net identifiable assets fair value, that means total assets minus total liabilities fair value of B company was, say for example, 800. Here let's see what is the goodwill or what is the, and the fair value of previously held interest, which was 20%, is, say for example, 80% we acquire at 1200. So what will be the prior, what is the value of 20%? We can find easily. Twelve hundred depicts the value of 80% of the stake. Then what is the value of 100% or 20%? We can also find both the ways. First of all, we find 100% value. 1200 divided by 80%, that is 1500. Is this the value of total firm? What is the value of 20%? Then 1500 into 20%, that is 30%. Sorry, that is 300 rupees. So whatever stack we acquired earlier has a cost of 100, and now it is having fair value of 300. So we will having 200 gain. And what is written? We will recognize this gain in other comprehensive income. Now we are finding the goodwill. Cost of acquisition is 1200. Non-controlling interest, now there is no more non-controlling interest, so 0. Okay, this is the cost, plus we already having some stake which is having fair value of 300. So our previously held interest, PHI, previously held interest, fair value is 300. Okay, and what is the value of net identifiable asset on that date? Total we are paying 1200 in cash, and our stakes fair value is 300. So total value is 1500 we are paying, and what we are getting in return of that 1500? We are getting net assets of 1800. So why are we are paying 700 extra? That 700 extra is goodwill. Here we will see cost of acquisition is 1200 plus fair value of NCI 0, fair value of our previously held interest PHI is 300. So total we paid this. In fact, 300 we paid only 100 of this 20% stake, but now its fair value is 300. So our unrealized gain is 200, but for purpose of calculation we will assume that we are paying that 300 now, and instead of in exchange of this 1500 at consideration, what we are getting? We are getting net identifiable asset, that means total assets minus total liability of 800. So what we are paying extra? Why are we paying extra 700? That is the goodwill. Goodwill is the extra earning capacity of the acquiring company, and for that getting extra earning capacity we are paying 700 extra. That's it. Next, an entity acquires an equipment and a patent in exchange of for 1000 crore cash and land. An entity acquires an equipment and a patent in exchange for 1000 crore cash and land. He is getting a equipment and patent, and he is giving a 1000 crore cash and land. The fair value of the land is 400 crore and its carrying value is 1000 crore, 100 crore. So it is giving total consideration 1000 crore cash and 400 crore worth land. So 1400 crore is the consideration he is paying. The fair values of the equipment and patents are estimated to be 500 crore and 1000 crore respectively. So his what amount he is getting, what worth assets he is getting. Fair values of the equipment and patent are respectively 500 and 1000. So total worth he is getting 1500. And what is he is giving? He is giving worth of 1400. So respectively, the equipment and patent relate to the product that has just recently been commercialized. See, this is a barter transaction. We are giving cash and land and we are getting patent and equipment. The market for this is still developing. We don't know the patent's real worth, even though we have assumed or we have calculated or estimated worth of the patent as 1000 crore, but maybe that patent worth may be different. Assume the entity incurred no cost. For ease of convenience, the tax consequences or gain have been ignored. How should the transaction be accounted for? First of all, we are writing it on the page. What purchase consideration or what consideration we are giving? Cash worth 1000 and land worth 400. Our cost is 100. And what we are getting? Equipment and patent. 1000, let me check it. First 500 and 1000. 500 and 1000. And the product or the formula for which we have get the patent is new product, or the market of which is yet not established. Okay, so 1500 worth we are getting, 1400 worth we are paying. Okay, now see the answer. As per para 2b, Ind AS 103, the standard does not apply to the acquisition of an asset or a group of assets that does not constitute a business. See, we are here acquiring just one or two standalone assets. We are not acquiring the whole business. So Ind AS 103 is not applying. Here the word is not purchase consideration, it's just a consideration. We write just for the simplification purpose. We can also erase it. It's a consideration. That is something in return for something. So we getting this two things and giving to cash and this land. In such cases, the acquirer shall identify and recognize the individual identifiable assets acquired, including those assets that meet the definition of an recognition criteria for intangible asset in Ind AS 38. Intangible asset and liabilities assumed. If you are also acquiring some intangible assets apart from goodwill, then we will value it and measure it according to the standards or criteria mentioned in Ind AS 38. But we will not measure goodwill over here. The cost of the group shall be allocated. The cost of the group shall be allocated to the individual identifiable assets and liability. We will identify each asset in its liability on the basis of the relative fair values at the date of purchase. Such transaction or event does not give rise to goodwill. Here no goodwill is created. In the given case, the acquisition of equipment and patent does not represent acquisition of a business. The cost of asset acquisition is determined based on the fair value of the assets given, unless, see, Here it is a barter transaction, and what we are giving, it is our real cost. What we are giving, it it shows our cost. What we paid 1400, it is our cost. 100 1000 cost and 400 land. So what the cost of the acquisition is based is determined based on the fair value of the assets given. What is the fair value of assets given? 1400. Unless the fair value of the asset received is more really determinable, is the value of asset received, or are the values of the asset received, that is equipment and patent, are more reliably determinable? No. The patent is newly established, or it is a something which new product. In the given case, the fair value of the fair value measurement of land appears more reliable than the fair value estimate of the equipment and patent. The things which we are getting is not very new or very famous in the market, so we cannot get the exact value of the patent, especially even though we can get the value of equipment. Thus the entity should record the acquisition of the equipment and patent as 1400 crore worth. That means 1400 crore is our cost. That is, first rule is the cost of the asset acquisition is determined based on the fair value of the asset given. First priority, we will give the value of the assets given. Thus, the fair value of the considered given is 1400 crore is allocated between the individual asset acquired based on their relative estimated fair values. The entity should record a gain of 300 crore for the difference between the fair value and carrying value of the land. See, the 100 crore was the book value of the land, and we are getting 400 crore for that land. So 300 crore is our profit, but we are not acquiring any other gain or any other capital reserve or something like that, because we this is not a business purchase, business combination. This is just a purchase of individual assets, namely equipment and patent. So we will allocate this 1400 cost to equipment and patent. Okay, so 1400 multiplied by 500 of the fair value of the equipment, and divided by total fair value of the assets received, that is 500 for equipment, 1000 for patent, that is 1500, we have divided. In the same manner, 1400 multiplied by 1000, that is the fair value of the patent, and divided by total fair value of equipment and patent, that is 1500, 500 plus 1000, so 1500. So we will get this value. You can put on the calculator 1400 multiplied by 500 divided by 1500, that is 466.66666, and rounded up to 467, and 1400 multiplied by 1000 divided by 1500, 933. 933 plus 467, 1400. See, we are writing it in the pad. We need to allocate the cost. Our cost, the cost of assets, this is the cost of assets given up. Cost of assets is more reliable, because patent's value is not clear. So our costs for acquiring these two assets, cost for acquiring, or total cost for acquiring equipment and patent is 1400, and that 1400 we need to allocate in the ratio of 500 and 1500, sorry, 500,000. So in denominator we will put 1500, and in numerator once 500 and once 1000. So this is the value we will get of patent, equipment and patent. So equipment's value, let's see the fair value of the equipment in the question. Yes, 500 divided by total fair value of equipment and patent, that is 1000, 500 plus 1000, that is 1500, is equal to 1400 multiplied by 500 divided by 1500, 466.66, and patent 1400 into 1000 multiplied by 1500. This is the fair value of patent. $933.33. Next, scope under Ind AS 103. The Indian accounting standard applies to a transaction or other event that meets the definition of a business combination. The Indian accounting standard does not apply to formation of joint venture or the acquisition of asset or group of asset that does not constitute a business. That we have seen earlier. We have purchased equipment and patent, but that is not a business. We cannot run a business just out of equipment and patent. We need some other assets like human resources or some group of assets. Definition of business combination. Now we are seeing the definition of business combination. Uh, Let me see the timings. Yes, using under Ind AS 103, business combination occurs when an entity obtains the control of a business by acquisition, by acquiring net assets or acquiring its significant equity interest. We get we can get control by two methods: acquiring the net assets or acquiring significant equity interest. Acquiring net asset or acquiring significant equity interest. Two methods we can get. We can buy the net asset or we can buy the equity interest. Two methods of getting control: buy net assets or buy the shares. As such, two elements are an entity can obtain control of a business by contract only, in which case the acquirer would neither have acquired net assets nor equity interest. In such case, while preparing balance sheet, controlling interest would be 0 and non-controlling interest will be 100. This is the only case when non-controlling interest will be 100%. Third method, by that is we can get control, this is by contract. CI 0, NCI 100. Non-controlling interest, that is minority shareholders. All shareholders are minority because even though they are having 100% shares, they are not having control. We are having control by contract. As such, two elements are required to be for a transaction to be a business combination. The acquirer obtains the control of the acquiree and the acquiree is a business. we should get the control of the acquiry, and whatever we are acquiring or whatever control we are getting over that, that thing should be an business. That should be a business. An acquirer might obtain control of an acquiry in a variety of ways. We can get control in a variety of ways. Say for example, by transferring cash equivalents or other assets, including net asset that constitute a business, we can get the control and we are paying cash or cash equivalents or something in kind, or we are also providing some another business in exchange for a particular business. So we can also pay business, get business, pay business, including net asset that constitute a business. Then by incurring liabilities, we assume the liabilities of the acquiree, and we get the control over the assets of the acquiree. That is one way of getting the control. Another is by issuing equity interest. We issue our equity shares to buy their equity shares. This is called equity interest. Next is by providing more than one type of consideration. We can provide cash, debentures, preference shares, or equity shares, and so on, without transferring consideration, including by contract alone. A business combination may be structured in a variety of ways for legal, taxation, or other reasons, which include but not limited to one or more business become subsidiaries of an acquirer, or the net asset of one or more business are legally merged into the acquirer. We are just buying the subsidiaries, or we are buying the net asset of the subsidiaries. It is one method. One combining entity transfer its net assets, or its owners transfer their equity interest to another combining entity or its owner. This is very simple. All the combining entities transfer their net assets, or the owners of those entities transfer their equity shares or interest to a newly formed entity. A group of former owners of one of the combining entities obtain a control of the combined entity. All this is a definition of business. We will see as per para B7. The application of guidance of Ind AS 103. A business consists of inputs and processes applied to those inputs that have the ability to create outputs. Output is not mandatory. There should be inputs and processes, but output is always not mandatory. It can also, for the purpose of cutting the cost. Although businesses usually have outputs are not required for an integrated set to qualify as a business. Analysis. Ind AS 103 defines business as an integrated set of activities and assets that is capable of being conducted and managed for the purpose of providing a return in the form of dividends, lower costs, or other economic benefits directly to investors or other owners, members, or participants. Now elements of business is first is inputs. Any economic resource that creates or has the ability to create outputs when one or more processes are applied to it. Input definition very clear. Non-current assets is input, including intangible asset or right to use non-current assets. That means lease. Intellectual property, the ability to obtain access to necessary materials or rights and employees. Process, a system, standard, protocol, convention, or rule that when applied to an input or inputs creates or has the ability to create outputs. Simple. You can go through this. Please read these examples. Company X is a liquor manufacturer and has traded for a number of years. The company produces a wide variety of liquor and employs a workforce of machine operators, testers, and other operational, marketing, and administrative staff. It owns and operates a factory, warehouse, and a machinery, and holds raw material inventory and finished products. On 1st January 2001, company Y pays $80 million to acquire 100% of the ordinary voting shares of company X. No other type of shares has been issued by the company X. On the same day, the four main executive directors of the company Y take on the same roles of being company X. In this case, it is a clear cut that company X is a business. It operates a trade with the variety of assets and that are used by its employees in a number of related activities. These assets and activities are necessarily integrated in order to create and sell the company's product. Company X obtains control on 1st January by acquiring 100% of the voting rights. This is just an example of business. It is showing that we are getting some business. No, we are not just getting some assets separately or in isolation. Business should be creating some processes, some inputs, and that by using that input and processes we are getting some ability to create output. It's not always necessary to get output. Investment in a development stage entity. Company D is a development stage entity that has not started revenue generating operations. The workforce consists mainly of research engineers who are developing a new technology that has a pending patent application. Negotiations to license this technology to a number of customers are at an advanced stage. Company D acquires additional funding to complete development work and commence planned commercial production. The value of the identified net asset of Company D is 750 million. Company A pays rupees 600 million in exchange for 60% of the equity of the Company D, a controlling interest. Although Company D is not yet earning revenues, it is not yet earning revenues. An example of output, that are a number of indicators. There are a number of indicators. It has sufficiently integrated set of activities. Sufficiently integrated set of activities and assets that are capable of being managed to produce a return for investor. In particular, Company D employs specialist engineers developing the know-how and design specification of the technology, is pursuing a viable plan to complete the development work and a commercial production. Commence production. It is a viable plan. It is very much likely that the company will successfully start the business and earn profit. This is the viable plan. Has identified and will be able to access customers willing to buy the output. They have also identified the customers or likely customers who are going to buy the products. So very much possibility that this will be a profitable business. In addition, the company A has paid a premium for its 60% interest. In the absence of evidence to the contrary, company D is presumed to be a business. These are all examples. You can read it out once. Company A acquires 100% of the equity and voting rights of Company P, a subsidiary of a property investment group. Company P owns 3 investment properties. The properties are single tenant industrial warehouses subject to long term leases. The leases oblige Company P to provide basic maintenance and security services, which have been outsourced to third party contractors. The administration of the Company P's leases was carried out by an employee of its former parent company on a part time basis, but this individual does not transfer to the new owner. In most cases, an asset or group of assets and liabilities that are capable of generating revenues combined with all or many of the activities necessary to earn those revenues would constitute a business. However, investment property is a specific case in which earning a return for investor is a defining characteristics of the asset. Accordingly, revenue generation and activities that are specific and ancillary to the investment property and its tenancy agreement should therefore be given a lower weighting in assessing whether the acquired is a business. In our view, the purchase of investment property with tenants and services that are purely ancillary to the property and its tenancy agreement should generally be accounted for as an asset purchase. This is not a business purchase, this is an asset purchase. See, we are acquiring a company which is a subsidiary of a property investment group, and we are acquiring the company, the name of which company is P Limited has 3 investment property, and these properties are managed by some part-time employee. So this P company is not in substance having any business. It is having just 3 investment properties, and it is earning some return on that property, maybe that rent or that some consideration for using that investment property. So in substance, there is no inputs, there is no processes, to qualify as a business. If someone acquires company P, then that person is not acquiring a business, and that is not a business combination. This is simply an asset purchase. So investment property is a specific case in which earning a return for investor is a defining characteristics of the asset. Even if the property is earning some return on investment, it is fetching some rent, but that is not a defining characteristics to qualify the same activity as a business. Ac- Acquisition of an entity holding investment properties. Now, the this P company was silently managed. There was no some active involvement of the owners. Just they have appointed a single part-time employee, and that guy is managing the maintenance and other ancillary or incidental services. But the next case is something different. We can see this guy is managing the whole show. We will see company A acquires 100% of the equity and voting rights of company Q, which owns three investment property. Here company A is also acquiring a company which is also an investment company, or which is also having some properties, and it is also having three properties. The properties are multi-tenant residential condominiums subject to short-term rental agreement that oblige. This is short-term rent agreements. Which kind of rent agreements? Short-term rent agreements that oblige the company Q to provide substantial maintenance and security services. Here, the maintenance and security services are substantial in nature. There is a great involvement of the owners or the owners' employees to manage this maintenance and security services, which are outsourced with specialist provider. Even though these services are outsourced, but this there is a substantial importance of that services. Company Q has 5 employees who deal directly with the tenants and with the outsourced contractors. The maintenance contractors or the security agencies are being dealt by the employees of company Q. So company Q is constantly in some work, constantly in some negotiations or some activities related to managing this short term rented property. Company Q has 5 employees who directly deal with the tenants and with the outsourced contractors to resolve any non-routine deal directly with the tenants and with the outsourced contractors to resolve any non-routine security or maintenance requirements. If the tenants are getting any problem with regard to security or maintenance, they will tell to the employees of the company Q, and the employees of company Q will coordinate with the maintenance and security contractors to amend the same or to rectify the mistakes of the service staff or maintenance staff or security staff. So this whole activity of coordinating is a big task, and giving property on a short term rental agreement is also a big task. It requires some substantial amount of time. These employees are involved in a variety of lease management tasks, identification and selection of tenants. They have to identify the proper or good characteristics, good character tenants which cannot create quarrels or problems to the other tenants. Lease negotiation, rent reviews, and marketing activities to maximize the quality of tenants and the rental income. They have to also maintain the quality of tenants. They have to make sure that nobody of evil purpose or evil minded comes into this society or the property, and they have to do good amount of marketing. So there is a hustle and bustle in the company. In the case company Q consists of a group of revenue generating assets together with employees and activities that clearly go beyond activities ancillary. These activities are not at all ancillary or incidental to the property management business, to the properties and their tenancy agreement. The assets and activities are clearly integrated, so company Q is considered as a business. See, earlier the P company was also having three properties, but they were managed by some part-time employee. There was no service or there were no maintenance or security contract with the outsourcing partners, and there were no full-time employees like 5 or 4 employees to manage the show. Here only one guy was part-time in P company. Here in Q company, 5 employees were doing negotiation, who are doing marketing, who are doing blah blah blah, and they are all time active. So this is a business. Next is seller retains some activities and assets. Company S is a manufacturer of wide range of products. The company's payroll and accounting system is managed by a separate cost center supporting all the operating segments and the head office functions. Company S, say for example, it's a Reliance company. Wide range of products, it's minerals, plastics, and whatnot. Reliance is into Reliance Trends, Reliance Mall. The company's payroll and accounting system is managed by a separate cost center. All the salaries of the employees are being counted, and accounting is done by a different department. And this department supports all the segments, including Reliance Jio. Company A agrees to acquire the trade, assets, liabilities, and workforce of the operating segments of Company S. Some company, say Tata, wants to acquire S company, that is Reliance company, but doesn't want to acquire the payroll and accounting cost center or head office functions. Company A is the competitor of Company S, and A, that is Tata, is the competitor of Reliance. In this case, the activities and assets within the operating segments are capable of being managed as a business, and so Company A accounts for the acquisition as a business. The payroll and accounting cost center and administrative head office are typically not used to create outputs. The payroll, accounting, and this head office functions are not creating any output. So even if they are not acquired, or even if they have not been acquired by Company A, it is still a business combination, because this accounting or payroll or administrative head office functions are not used to create outputs, and so are generally not considered the essential element in the assessment of whether an integrated set of activities and asset is the business. ठीक है, तो हमको अगर हमने किसी कंपनी को एक्वायर कर लिया और उसमें अकाउंटिंग, पेरोल या फिर हेड ऑफिस के फंक्शंस एक्वायर नहीं किए, फिर भी हम ऐसा मान लेंगे कि हमने वो पूरा बिजनेस एक्वायर कर लिया, क्योंकि उसकी जो मेन बिजनेस एक्टिविटीज़ है वो सारी अलग अलग बिजनेस में है, वो वाइड रेंज ऑफ प्रोडक्ट्स है, तो वो सारी प्रोडक्शन प्रोसेस, सारा मार्केटिंग, सारा उसका फार्मूलाज वगैरह, उसकी जो भी पेटेंटेड फार्मूलाज वो सारा एक्वायर कर लिया है वाइड रेंज ऑफ प्रोडक्ट्स का। तो ऐसा मान लिया जाएगा कि आपने कंपनी को ही एक्वायर किया है, बिजनेस को ही एक्वायर किया, भले ही आपने पेरोल, अकाउंटिंग और हेड ऑफिस के फंक्शंस एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव नेचर के नहीं एक्वायर किए हैं। एक्विजिशन ऑफ अ सेल कंपनी. Company A is a property development company with a number of subsidiary companies, each of which holds a significant single development. After completion of the development, Company A sells its equity investment because the applicable tax rate is lower than that applicable to the sale of the underlying property. कंपनी ए है, उसकी बहुत सारी सब्सिडी है और हर एक सब्सिडी के पास एक एक सिंगल डेवलपमेंट है। वो डेवलपमेंट होने के बाद वो डेवलपमेंट की प्रॉपर्टी नहीं बेचता है कंपनी ये पूरी की पूरी कंपनी बेच देता है। आफ्टर कंप्लीशन ऑफ द डेवलपमेंट, कंपनी ये सेल इट्स इक्विटी इन्वेस्टमेंट बिकॉज द एप्लीकेबल टैक्स रेट इज लोअर दैन दैट एप्लीकेबल टू द सेल ऑफ द अंडरलाइंग प्रॉपर्टी। अगर आप अंडरलाइंग प्रॉपर्टी बेचोगे और वो आपका बिजनेस ही है तो आपको पीजीबीपी में टैक्स रेट लगेगा, और अगर आप पूरी की पूरी कंपनी बेच देते हो तो हो सकता है कि पूरी कंपनी अक्वायर हो जाती है तो उसके बहुत सारे टैक्स के एग्जम्पशंस मिलते हैं उसके कैपिटल गेन पे, या उसके प्रॉफिट एंड गेन फ्रॉम बिजनेस प्रोफेशन में भी आपको रिलीफ मिल सकती है। लेकिन यहाँ पे ज़्यादातर कैपिटल गेन नहीं लगता अगर कंपनी को पूरी कंपनी को दूसरी कंपनी एक्वायर कर लेती है। तो ये पूरी असेट बेचने की जगह पूरी कंपनी ही बेच देता है जो कंपनी के पास वो पर्टिकुलर डेवलपमेंट वाली असेट है, सिर्फ और एक पूरा साइट है या पूरा प्रोजेक्ट है। कंपनी ए इज़ प्लानिंग टू स्टार्ट द डेवलपमेंट ऑफ अ लार्ज न्यू रिटेल कॉम्प्लेक्स। वो बहुत ही बड़ा एक रिटेल शॉपिंग सेंटर और शॉपिंग कॉम्प्लेक्स बनाना चाहते हैं। रादर देन इनकॉर्पोरेटिंग अ न्यू कंपनी, कंपनी ए एक्वायर्स द एंटायर शेयर कैपिटल ऑफ अ शेल कंपनी। अब वो एक कंपनी है जो बहुत सालों से कोई काम नहीं कर रही है, समझ लो डोरमेंट कंपनी है या फिर सिर्फ नाम के लिए बनाई गई कंपनी है, वो कंपनी को कंपनी ए एक्वायर कर लेता है। The shell company does not contain an integrated set of activities and assets and so does not constitute a business. उसने भले ही शेल कंपनी को खरीद लिया लेकिन उसमें कोई इंटीग्रेटेड सेट ऑफ एक्टिविटीज़ नहीं है, उस वजह से वो बिज़नेस है ही नहीं, तो आपने बिज़नेस एक्टिविटी अक्वायर किया ऐसा नहीं माना जाएगा. Consequently, company A should account for the purchase of the shell company in the same way as the incorporation of a new subsidiary. उसको ऐसा मान लेना पड़ेगा उसने एक नई सब्सिडी का एस्टेब्लिशमेंट किया हुआ है, भले ही उसने एक एग्जिस्टिंग कंपनी को खरीदा हुआ है. इन द कंसोलिडेटेड फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट एनी कॉस्ट इनकर्ड विल बी अकाउंटेड फॉर इन अकॉर्डेंस विद their nature and applicable in days. No goodwill is recognized. Here we cannot recognize any goodwill because we are not acquiring a business, because there are no integrated set of activities and integrated set of assets. Simple. For becoming or existing a business, there should be input, process, and there should be a possibility of output. For becoming a set of activity or set of process, a business, it is not required to have outputs always. Company A is a pharmaceutical company. Since inception or since its starting of the business, the company had been conducting in-house research and development activities through its skilled workforce and recently obtained an IPR in the form of patents over certain drugs. वो दवाइयाँ बना रही है बहुत सालों से, और जब से कंपनी बनी है दवाइयाँ बनाने के और उसके फॉर्मूला ढूंढने के अलावा कोई काम नहीं करती है. The company has a production plant that has recently obtained regulatory approvals. और उसके प्रोडक्शन प्लान को पूरी गवर्नमेंट की सारी परमिशंस मिल गई है, अभी प्रोडक्शन शुरू नहीं किया है. However, the company has not earned any revenue so far and does not have any customer contracts for sale of goods. कंपनी भी acquires कंपनी है. क्या कोई ऐसी कंपनी आप खरीद रहे हो जो अब तक सिर्फ और सिर्फ रिसर्च एंड डेवलपमेंट कर रही है और उसने अभी अभी नया कोई प्रोडक्ट को पेटेंट प्राप्त किया है और नया डेवलप किया है जिसका प्रोडक्शन होना भी बाकी है, तो क्या ये कंपनी को आप अक्वायर करते हो तो बिजनेस माना जाएगा? बिल्कुल माना जाएगा. द डेफिनेशन ऑफ बिजनेस रिक्वायर्स एक्जिस्टेंस ऑफ इनपुट एंड प्रोसेस. यहाँ पे इनपुट्स भी है और प्रोसेस भी है. आप बहुत सारी दवाइयाँ डाल केमिकल्स ला के उसके पे प्रोसेसिंग करते हो, चेक करते हो क्या इससे ये रोग मिटता है, वो रोग मिटता है या नहीं मिटता है, तो उससे प्रोसेस है इनपुट से, भले ही आउटपुट अभी तक नहीं मिला हो या फिर अभी तक उसका कमर्शियल प्रोडक्शन शुरू नहीं हुआ हो. In this case, the skilled workforce, manufacturing plant and IPR along with strategic and operational processes constitute inputs and processes in line with requirements of Ind AS 103 business combination. When the said inputs and processes are applied as an integrated set, here the important word is integrated set, the company A will be capable of producing outputs. Here it is capability is important. Whether the company A is capable of producing outputs, if yes, then it is a business. The fact that the company A currently does not have revenue is not relevant to the analysis of the definition of business under Ind AS 103 basis. This and presuming that company A would have been able to obtain access to the customers that will purchase the outputs, the present case can be said to consider a business. Here, this is a business. Modifying the above legislation, if company A had revenue contracts and a sales force such that company B acquires all the inputs and processes other than the sales force, then whether the definition of the business is met in accordance with Ind AS 103. कोई कंपनी बी है, उसने पूरी कंपनी को खरीद ली, सिर्फ सेल्स डिपार्टमेंट को नहीं खरीदा, क्या इसके बारिंग से वो बिजनेस होना बंद हो जाएगा? सेल्स डिपार्टमेंट तो वो कंपनी बी अगर कंपनी ए को खरीद रही है सेल्स डिपार्टमेंट के अलावा, तो कंपनी ए के सेल्स डिपार्टमेंट के अलावा क्या ये बिजनेस नहीं चल सकता? दूसरे भी एम्प्लॉयज़ तो हम ला ही सकते हैं ना. कंपनी बी अगर कंपनी ए को एक्वायर कर रही है तो कंपनी बी नया स्टाफ अपॉइंटमेंट करना चाहती होगी, उसको कंपनी ए के सेल्स और मार्केटिंग डिपार्टमेंट में भरोसा नहीं हो सकता, नहीं होगा, उस वजह से वो उसको नहीं कंटिन्यू कर रही है. थ्रू द सेल्स फोर्स हैज़ बिन though the sales force has been not acquired, taken over. However, if the missing inputs, that is sales force, can be easily replicated or obtained by the market participant to generate output, it may be concluded that company A as the acquired business. Further, if the company B is also into similar line of business, then the existing sales force of company B may also be relevant to mitigate the missing input. Here missing input is the word. There is no nothing like that there is a missing input. Company, if company B is already existing in the same industry, then it can use its own sales staff to market the products of A. As such, the definition of business is met in accordance with 103. Now the acquisition method. Following are key steps involved in the acquisition accounting for business combination. First, identify the acquirer. Who is the real acquirer? Here, legal acquirer and accounting acquirer can sometimes be different. We will see that into detail. Determining the acquisition date. Recognize and measuring the identifiable assets acquired and liabilities assumed and any non-controlling interest in the company. And recognize and measuring goodwill or a gain from a bargain purchase. First step is identify the acquirer. Second is determine the acquisition date. Recognize and measuring the identifiable assets acquired, liabilities assumed and any NCI in the acquiry. ठीक है. Then recognize and measuring goodwill or capital reserve, that is gain or bargain purchase. This is lots and lots of theory. First step is identifying the acquirer. A business combination within the scope of 103 are Ind AS 103 accounted under the acquisition method, also known as purchase method. In order to apply the purchase method, the parties involved has to identify the acquirer, the entity that obtains the control of another entity, who is the controller after acquisition, that we need to find out. The another entity on whom the control is established is called acquiree. This is because the acquiree's assets and liabilities what is accounted as per the recognition and measurement principles of standard. The acquiring enterprise is the enterprise that obtains control and determination of control is as per guidance given in 110. अब हमको इसके लिए बिजनेस कॉम्बिनेशन का इंड एस के साथ साथ आपको कंसोलिडेटेड फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स भी आना चाहिए, जिसके हिसाब से आपको कंट्रोल देखना है. इट मे सो हैपन दैट द गाइडेंस ऑफ 110 डज नॉट क्लियरली इंडिकेट विच ऑफ द कंबाइनिंग एंटिटी इज द acquirer. In such case, the 103 provides additional guidance on identifying the acquirer. As per 110, consolidated financial statement, investor controls and It may also happen that guidance in Ind AS 110 does not clearly indicate which of the combining entity is the acquirer. As per 110, consolidated financial statement and investor controls and investee if and only if the investor has the following. All of the following. आपको देखना है कि इन्वेस्टर जो होता है अक्वायर, उसके पास ये तीन चीज़ होती है, तभी वो अक्वायरर कहलाता है. इन्वेस्टर को अक्वायरर बनने के लिए ये चीज़ चाहिए. पावर ओवर द इन्वेस्टी. आप जिस कंपनी को खरीद रहे हैं उसके ऊपर आपका क्या पावर चलता है. अब पावर कैसे चलता है वो आप अलग अलग तरीके से पावर चला सकते हो. एक्सपोजर और राइट्स टू वेरिएबल रिटर्न फ्रॉम इट्स इन्वॉल्वमेंट विद द इन्वेस्टी. अगर आप किसी कंपनी को खरीद रहे हो या किसी कंपनी में 50% से ज़्यादा शेयर खरीद रहे हो या किसी कंपनी पे पावर जमा रहे हो, तो क्या आप उस कंपनी को कंट्रोल करने की वजह से आपका रिटर्न ऑन इन्वेस्टमेंट चेंज नहीं होता रहेगा, और उसका रिटर्न ऑन इन्वेस्टमेंट जैसे जैसे आपका ही खुद का कंट्रोल है, तो आप जैसे मैनेज करोगे उस हिसाब से आपका रिटर्न ऑन इन्वेस्टमेंट यानी प्रॉफिट मिलेगा. तो द एबिलिटी टू फर्स्ट सेकंड इज एक्सपोजर और राइट्स टू वेरिएबल रिटर्न फ्रॉम इट्स इन्वॉल्वमेंट विद द इन्वेस्टी. आप कोई कंपनी को खरीद रहे हो और उस कंपनी के 70%, 60% शेयर खरीदने के बाद उस कंपनी में इन्वॉल्व हो जाते हो। इन्वॉल्व होने के बाद आपको उस कंपनी का जो प्रॉफिट आता है वो प्रॉफिट कम भी हो सकता है और ज़्यादा भी हो सकता है, उसको कहते हैं वेरिएबल रिटर्न फ्रॉम द इन्वॉल्वमेंट विद द इन्वेस्टी। और द और जो लास्ट है, एंड इज द एबिलिटी टू यूज इट्स पावर ओवर द इन्वेस्टी टू अफेक्ट द अमाउंट ऑफ द इन्वेस्टर रिटर्न। और आप उस कंपनी में इन्वॉल्व तो हो गए, इन्वॉल्व करने के बाद आपके पास पावर भी है, और पावर का आप इस्तेमाल क्या कर सकते हो, पावर के इस्तेमाल करके आप अपना रिटर्न ऑन इन्वेस्टमेंट हमेशा बढ़ाना चाहते हो, और बढ़ाने के लिए आप अलग अलग डिसीजंस लेते हो, इस जगह पे इन्वेस्टमेंट करना, ये बिजनेस इसको इस कस्टमर को उधारी पे देना, इसको नहीं देना, वगैरह सारे डिसीजंस आप इन्वॉल्व होके लेते हो अगर आप बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स में बनते हो तो आपके पास एबिलिटी टू यूज पावर्स ओवर द इन्वेस्टी टू अफेक्ट द अमाउंट ऑफ द इन्वेस्टर्स रिटर्न्स। अगर आप बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर नहीं भी बनते, लेकिन अगर आपके पास पावर ओवर द इन्वेस्टी है तो आप आपका जो रिटर्न है उसको वेरिएबिलिटी आप अपने हिसाब से चेक मैनेज कर सकते हो, आप अपना रिटर्न ऑन इन्वेस्टमेंट खुद तय कर सकते हो अगर आप उसको सही से बिजनेस को मैनेज कर रहे हो। तो सिंपली ये कहना चाहता है कि आपको कोई कंपनी को खरीद रहे हो तो आपका रिटर्न ऑन इन्वेस्टमेंट फ्रॉम दैट कंपनी, फ्रॉम दैट इन्वेस्टमेंट इन दैट कंपनी विल बी वेरिएबल, एंड return on investment will be depend on how you take decisions about that company, and you have the power to take the decisions. Simple. The above definition is very wide, and control assessment does not depend only on voting right. Instead, it depends on the following: the potential voting rights, rights of non-controlling shareholders, and other contractual right of investor if those are substantive in nature. Potential voting rights means even if you are not having any equity shares now, but you are having some instrument or some warrants kind of thing or options which can result into shares after some period or some point in time in future. So you are potential equity, that means you will be shareholders once your shares, once your preference shares or once your debentures are converted or once your warrants are converted into shares, etc. So these are some potential voting rights. Next is rights of non-controlling shareholders. That is also looked for checking the control purpose. Next is other contractual rights of the investor if these are substantive in nature. Control assessments has been discussed in detail in the chapter of consolidated financial statement that we will see in Ind AS 110. Now we are not discussing. सो इंडिकेटर ऑफ, आपके पास कंट्रोल तो होना चाहिए, लेकिन कंट्रोल के इंडिकेटर क्या है, खाली शेयर होने मात्र से आपको कंट्रोल एस्टैब्लिश नहीं होता, सिर्फ ये इंडिकेट कर सकता है, हो भी नहीं सकता है। इंडिकेटर इज एन इंक्लूसिव लिस्ट, देयर कैन बी अदर इंडिकेटर्स ऑल्सो। सो मोर देन 50% वोटिंग राइट्स इज एन इंडिकेटर ऑफ कंट्रोल. पावर टू अपॉइंट एंड रिमूव बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स इज ऑल्सो इंडिकेटर ऑफ कंट्रोल. इन्वेस्टर हैविंग currently exercisable potential voting rights. If you are having some options or some warrants which you can exercise now is also indicator of control. It's not like that you can exercise those options or warrants in future, that is not a indicator of control. If you are having currently exercisable warrants, currently exercisable sweat equity shares, or currently currently exercisable options, or currently convertible, anytime convertible debentures is also called indicator of control. If you are having some debentures or preference share which you can convert at any time during a specified period into equity shares, then you are having exercisable potential voting rights. Next is potential voting rights. Company P Limited, a manufacturer of textile products, acquires 40,000 of the equity shares of the company X, a manufacturer of complementary products. Complementary means supporting products. Tea and coffee is a complementary product. Then this diesel and cars, petrol and bikes are complementary. Then tea and coffee are not complementary, they are competing products. For your kind information, Company P Limited, a manufacturer of textile products, Company P is producing some textile, acquires 40,000 of the equity shares of Company X, a manufacturer of complementary प्रोडक्ट्स आउट ऑफ 1 लाख शेयर्स इन इश्यू। कंपनी पी है, उसने एक्स के 40,000 शेयर्स ले लिए, जो एक्स के पास टोटल 1 लाख शेयर्स थे। एज पार्ट ऑफ द एग्रीमेंट कंपनी पी परचेजेस एन ऑप्शन टू अक्वायर एडिशनल 25,000 शेयर्स। The option is exercisable at any time in the next 12 months. The exercise price includes a small premium to the market price at the transaction date. अभी आपने 40,000 शेयर्स ले लिए, अभी आपके पास और 25,000 शेयर्स लेने का हक है। तो आपके टोटल शेयर्स कितने हो जाएंगे आफ्टर एक्विजिशन? आफ्टर एक्विजिशन आपके पास 40,000 प्लस 25,000, तो आपके पास 65,000 शेयर्स हो जाएंगे। और कंपनी के पास कितने हो जाएंगे? 1 लाख प्लस 25,000, तो 1,25,000 शेयर्स है टोटल कंपनी में, और आपके पास 65 आउट ऑफ 125, तो आप प्रतिशत निकाल दिए, 52% आपका आपके पास शेयर्स हो जाएंगे। तो क्या आपके पास करंटली एक्सेसिबल पोटेंशियल वोटिंग राइट्स है? जी बिल्कुल है। तो आप देख लीजिए, the exercise price includes a small amount of premium. Next is, after the above transaction, the shareholdings of the company P's to other original shareholders are 35,000 and 25,000. टोटल शेयर्स कितने थे? 1 लाख, उसमें से हमने कितने खरीद लिए? 40,000, तो बाकी कितने रह गए? 60 में दो शेयर होल्डर्स है, उसी के पास 35, दूसरे के पास 25, तो टोटल हो गए 60। ईच ऑफ दिस शेयर होल्डर हैज़ करंटली एक्सेसिबल ऑप्शंस टू अक्वायर एडिशनल इक्विटी शेयर्स। अब उनके पास भी ऑप्शन एडिशनल शेयर्स लेने का ऑप्शन है। तो टोटल ऑप्शंस किसके पास कितने हैं? हमारे पास 25,000 और उन दोनों के पास 2,000 शेयर्स खरीदने का ऑप्शन है। तो टोटल कितने? 29,000 के ऑप्शन हो गए। तो अगर कंपनी पूरे ऑप्शंस को इक्विटी शेयर्स में कन्वर्ट करवा लेती है, या फिर जो शेयर होल्डर्स है वो कन्वर्ट करा लेते हैं, तो टोटल शेयर्स हो जाएंगे 1,29,000। उसमें से हमारे शेयर्स कितने रहेंगे? 65,000। तो 65,000 डिवाइडेड बाई 1,29,000 इज इक्वल टू 65 डिवाइडेड बाई 129%, तो अब 50.38% आएगा। तो 50.38% इज मोर देन और सॉरी, it is not 50.38% is not less than 50. So for acquiring the control, you have not less than 50% of the equity shareholding stake. So you are having a stake. Say we see this by a example. What is the company name? Company P. यहाँ पे है कंपनी एक्स, उसके टोटल शेयर है 1 लाख शेयर्स। अब कंपनी पी ने उसके 40,000 शेयर्स तो ले ही लिए, अब पोटेंशियल शेयर्स किसके पास कितने रहे? ये कंपनी बी के पास अभी और 25,000 पोटेंशियल राइट्स है, जिसको वो कभी भी एक्सरसाइज करवा के और इक्विटी शेयर्स में कन्वर्ट कर सकता है। और इस कंपनी के 40,000 इसने शेयर्स ले लिए, बाकी बचे 60,000। एग्जिस्टिंग शेयर 60,000 है। 60,000 के में ए और बी नामक शेयर होल्डर के पास समझ लीजिए 35,000 और 25,000 इस प्रकार शेयर है। और इन दोनों के पास भी अलग से 2,000 नए शेयर्स लेने का ऑप्शंस है। तो टोटल ऑप्शन कितने हैं, अगर सारे शेयर होल्डर्स जिसके पास ऑप्शन से वो कन्वर्ट करा लेते तो नए 29,000 शेयर्स आ जाएंगे। इनके 2 + 2 4, और कंपनी पी के पास 25,000 ऑप्शन है, एक्सरसाइज है, वो कभी भी एक्सरसाइज कर सकते हो। 29,000 नए शेयर्स क्रिएट हो सकते कभी भी, जब ये शेयर होल्डर्स बोले। तो अभी 1 लाख शेयर्स है, अभी इसमें कंपनी पी का मोर देन 50,000 50% स्टेक नहीं है। लेकिन अगर सारे लोग सारे स्टेक एक्सरसाइज कर लेंगे तो क्या होगा, सिचुएशन क्या हो जाएगी, कंपनी पी जिसके पास 40 थे वो हो जाएंगे 65,000, और ए और बी उसको 35 + 2 37 हो जाएंगे। इसके पास भी 25 + 2 तो 27 हो जाएंगे, और यहाँ पे हो जाएंगे 65। टोटल शेयर्स आप देख सकते हो जाएंगे 65,000 + 37,000 + 27,000, सो 1,29,000 शेयर्स हो जाएंगे। और अपने पास कितने होंगे, कंपनी पी के पास 65,000 आउट ऑफ 1,29,000, तो हम अपने आप ही होल्डिंग बन जाएंगे। 50.38% स्टेक है अगर पोटेंशियल वोटिंग राइट्स को, पोटेंशियल शेयर्स को इंक्लूड करें तो इस तरह से भी आप किसी कंपनी का पोटेंशियल वोटिंग राइट होने की वजह से भी आप इंडिकेटर ऑफ कंट्रोल हो सकता है। ठीक है, यही एग्जांपल यहाँ पे समझाया हुआ है। यहाँ पे आप पढ़ लीजिए। Acquisition through payment of cash or incurring of liability in a business combination effected primarily by primarily by transferring cash or other asset or by incurring liabilities. The acquirer is usually the entity that transfers the cash or other assets or incurs the liabilities. यहाँ पे खास यूजुअली लिखा है, देखो ए ने, इसमें भी आपको एग्जांपल के थ्रू समझाता हूँ। ए ने बी को खरीदा तो ए ने क्या दिया, कैश दिया, शेयर्स दिए, ठीक है। तो अब यहाँ अलग समथिंग इन काइंड दिया, डिवेंचर्स की वजह बदले डिवेंचर्स दिया, इक्विटी शेयरहोल्डर्स को ये 3 चीज मिली तो ये पीसी हो गया। तो यहाँ पे अक्वायरर कौन है, ए, और यहाँ पे अक्वायरर कौन है, बी है, अक्वायरी। ये कंपनी जो है वेंडर कंपनी है, ये कंपनी जो है परचेसिंग कंपनी है। ठीक है, अब एक नया एग्जांपल देखते हैं, उसमें आपको अकाउंटिंग अक्वायर और लीगल अक्वायर में आपको समझाता हूँ। एक है कंपनी ए, एक है कंपनी बी। जी, यहाँ पे ये जो टेस्ट योर नॉलेज है उसमें सेकेंड सम है, टेस्ट योर नॉलेज 13.92, उसमें आपको सेकेंड सम में अकाउंटिंग एक्वायर और लीगल एक्वायर की हम आपको समझ दे सकते हैं, जिसमें आपको कुछ इस तरह से देखना है। यहाँ पे आपको देखना है कंपनी ऑन 31 सितंबर, ट्रांजैक्शन हुआ है 30 सितंबर, एंटिटी ए issues 2.5 shares in exchange for each ordinary shares of entity B. That means exchange ratio is 2.5 shares for every one share of company B. This is the exchange ratio. All of entity B shareholder exchange their shares in entity B, and all the shareholders of entity B are agreed or are agreeing to the proposal of selling their shares. Therefore, entity A issues 150 shares in exchange for 60 shares, 60 ordinary shares of entity B. If 2.5 for everyone, how much for 60? You will get 60 into 2.5 divided by 1, that is 150 shares will be issued by entity A to B. A will issue 150 shares to shareholders of B. Okay, now we are looking the position of A and B. The fair value of each ordinary shares of entity B is 40. Fair value is 40. Please keep in mind the quoted market price of entity A's ordinary shares is at the date is rupees 16. Maybe here fair value of B is given and quoted market price CMP of A is given. That means A is listed company, most probably quoted market price, and this is unlisted company. That means it is fair value is given. The fair values of entities A's identifiable asset and liabilities on 30th September are the same as their carrying amount, except that the fair value of the entity A's non-current assets on 31st September is 1500. That we will see later on. But for finding the accounting acquirer and legal acquirer, here legally A is acquiring B. Now we are seeing how much shares are there already in company A. In the next page we will see company A here is issuing company A. What is the status of company A? Old shares to existing shareholders, they are owned by existing shareholders, and new shares to shareholders which were earlier shareholders of B. So they existing shareholder has in company A 100 shares, and company B shareholders will get 150 shares in company B. So total share capital, total shares will be 250 in number. So who will dominate in the company? In this company, B company shareholders are having more stake as compared to A company's old shareholders. We will find it in percentage. 100 divided by 250 multiply by 100. 100 divided by 250 is equal to 40 percentage. That is existing shareholders stake after acquisition of A by after acquisition of B by A. Then new shareholders which were earlier shareholders of B are having 60% stake, that you can find by 150 divided by 250 percentage in calculator 60 percentage. So these people will dominate in the company. For legal purpose A is acquiring B, but for accounting purpose B is acquiring A. B, here A is the legal acquirer. That means A will legally issue shares of itself. That means A will issue A's shares to shareholders of B. But who will dominate after acquisition? B shareholders will dominate in the company. So this is the accounting acquirer. B will consolidate its books with A's books, accounting acquirer. That means here one principle is that B is the acquirer, and B for accounting purpose we are dealing the account subjects, financial reporting. So B is the acquirer and A is acquiree for accounting point of view. This you need to keep in mind. Legally, B is acquiree, but accounting point of view, B is acquirer. So the point is here whose books, whose here B will consolidate its books of account with A's books of account. So what will happen, line to line, we will do line to line, line by line consolidation. How line by line? B is the acquirer, A is the acquiree. Say for example, B's fixed assets are 10, A's fixed assets are 25, but now its fair value is, say for example, 20. So we will write 10 plus fair value 20, that is 10 plus 20, 30. We will write whose net identifiable assets we will take at fair value, acquirees assets we will take at fair value, not that of acquirers. In the कहना क्या चाहता है, भले ही ए अकाउंटिंग, ए लीगल अक्वायरर, लेकिन अकाउंटिंग अक्वायरर तो बी है. बी विल जो कंसोलिडेटेड स्टेटमेंट्स बनेगा उसमें बी की जो असेट्स है जो बुक वैल्यू पे है वही दिखाई जाएगी कंसोलिडेशन के समय पे, और ए की जो असेट्स है उसको फेयर वैल्यू पे लेके हम टोटल असेट्स लिखेंगे. अगर समझ लो यहाँ पे भी अगर इसकी फिक्स असेट्स है ए बी की, उसकी भी फेयर वैल्यू समझ लो 8 दी गई है, तो भी हम यहाँ पे 10 प्लस 20 30 ही लिखेंगे, क्योंकि हम कभी भी अक्वायरर, जो अकाउंटिंग अक्वायरर है, उसके बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट की छेड़छाड़ नहीं करते. उसके बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट में जो कैरिंग अमाउंट है उसी कैरिंग अमाउंट से हम कंसोलिडेशन करते हैं. लेकिन जो अक्वायरी है उसके बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट में बिफोर कंसोलिडेशन जो बुक वैल्यू है उसको हम कंपेयर करेंगे फेयर वैल्यू से, और उस फेयर वैल्यू से हम लाइन बाय लाइन कंसोलिडेशन करेंगे. समझ लीजिए यहाँ पे बी है, मैं आपको असेट्स का नाम लिखता हूँ, उसकी फेयर वैल्यू लिखता हूँ, फिर आपको कंसोलिडेटेड अमाउंट बतानी है. पे ए है, फिक्स असेट्स है इसकी, ठीक है. यहाँ पे है बुक वैल्यू, यहाँ पे है फेयर वैल्यू. ये है टेबल. सीधी लाइन खींचनी पड़ेगी, और यहाँ पे है बुक वैल्यू, यहाँ पे है फेयर वैल्यू, और यहाँ पे आपको कंसोलिडेटेड अमाउंट लिखनी है. बी इज द अक्वायरर, अकाउंटिंग अक्वायरर. उसकी फिक्स असेट्स है, फिर उसकी इंटेंजिबल फिक्स टेंजिबल असेट्स, फिक्स असेट्स में टेंजिबल इंटेंजिबल, फिर उसके जो भी आप सारी असेट्स को आप रीवैल्यू कर सकते. इसकी टेंजिबल असेट्स है 200 की, फेयर वैल्यू है 220 की, इसकी इंटेंजिबल असेट्स है 150 की, फेयर वैल्यू है 120 की. इसकी बुक वैल्यू है फिक्स असेट्स की 300 की बुक वैल्यू, और फेयर वैल्यू है 400 की. इसकी है इंटेंजिबल असेट की 100 की, और फेयर वैल्यू है 20 की. अब हम किसको फेयर वैल्यू पे लेंगे, समझ लो. आपको लाइन बाय लाइन एडिशन करना है, लेकिन बी जो अक्वायरर है उसका बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट का वैल्यू लेना है, यानी कैरिंग वैल्यू, यानी 200, और इसका फेयर वैल्यू लेना है 400. भले ही इसका फेयर वैल्यू दिया है लेकिन इसको इग्नोर करना है, और इसको भी इग्नोर करना है, क्योंकि इसका बुक वैल्यू लेना है अक्वायरी का, और अक्वायरर का अक्वायरी का फेयर वैल्यू लेना है, और अक्वायरर का कैरिंग अमाउंट ही लेना है, तो 200 प्लस 400 600। इसी तरह इसका बुक वैल्यू लेंगे और इसका फेयर वैल्यू लेंगे, तो 150 प्लस 20 इज इक्वल टू 170। इस तरह से आपको असेट्स का टोटलिंग करना है। लाइन बाय लाइन एडिशन जब करेंगे तो जो लीगल अक्वायर है उसको नहीं देखेंगे, अकाउंटिंग अक्वायर के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से हम उसके असेट साइड में इस तरह से उसकी फेयर वैल्यू का लाइन बाय लाइन एडिशन करेंगे। यही सम में यही पॉइंट दिया गया हुआ है। अब आप उस सम को थोड़ा गौर तलब कीजिए। देखिए, देखो मार्केट वैल्यू ए है और बी है, बराबर। तो ए की शेयर की प्राइस कितनी है? ए की प्राइस 16 रुपीज़ है और बी की वैल्यू है 40 रुपीज़। अगर आप हमेशा एक्सचेंज रेशियो होता है, आप मर्जर एंड एक्विजिशन में देखेंगे मार्केट प्राइस बेस्ड एक्सचेंज रेशियो। तो एक्सचेंज रेशियो देखेंगे सेलर अपॉन बायर होता है, सेलर्स मार्केट प्राइस अपॉन बायर मार्केट प्राइस। तो 40 डिवाइडेड बाई 16, तो वो क्वेश्चन ने दे ही दिया है 2.5 शेयर्स ऑफ ए फॉर एवरी 1 शेयर्स हेल्ड इन बी। तो बी के पास 60 शेयर्स है ऑलरेडी, सॉरी हाँ, बी के पास 60 शेयर्स है और ए वो अपने 60 बी के 60 की जगह 150 शेयर्स देगा और ए के पास सिर्फ 100 ही शेयर्स है, जो हमने आगे देखा 60 इंटू 2.5 इज इक्वल टू 150। तो ए जो है अपने 150 शेयर्स बी के शेयर होल्डर्स को देगा और ए के जो पुराने शेयर होल्डर्स है उसके पास सिर्फ 100 ही शेयर्स है और अभी भी 100 ही शेयर्स रहेंगे। तो जो ए के नए शेयर्स हो गए पुराने शेयर होल्डर्स के पास उसमें से 100 रहेंगे और टोटल जो नई शेयर कैपिटल होगी उसमें से पुराने वाले के पास 100, नए वाले के पास 150। तो नए वालों के पास 60% और पुराने वालों के पास 40% है। तो जो पुराने वाले हैं, भले ही यहाँ पे ए लीगली दिख रहा है कि बी को अक्वायर कर रहा है, लेकिन अकाउंटिंग पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से बी अक्वायर कर रहा है ए को। ये बार बार आपको समझना है। जैसे भी आप इसकी नेटवर्थ देख सकते हो, देखो ए कंपनी है उसकी प्राइस है 16 रुपया और उसके शेयर्स है, ऑर्डिनरी शेयर्स इन नंबर है 100, तो 1600 उसकी नेटवर्थ हुई। और जो बी है उसकी 40 रुपीज़ है और उसके शेयर्स जो एग्जिस्टेंस में 60, 40 इंटू 60 तो 2400 हो गया। ठीक है, तो ये अब इसकी नेटवर्थ ज़्यादा है, तो आप ही बताइए ये ए बी को अक्वायर करेगा या बी ए को अक्वायर करेगा? जिसकी नेटवर्थ मार्केट कैपिटलाइजेशन ज़्यादा होगा वही अक्वायर करेगा ना। तो इस तरह से आपको सोचना है। ये लीगल अक्वायर और अकाउंटिंग अक्वायर का मैंने आपको समझा। अब इसी सम को हम आगे पूरा कर लेते हैं। उसमें क्या लिखा है, अब हमको द फेयर वैल्यू जो थर्ड पैरा है, हमने लीगल अक्वायर और अकाउंटिंग एक्वायर को पहचान लिया इस तरह से कि आफ्टर एक्विजिशन जो शेयर कैपिटल है, लीगल एक्वायर और अकाउंटिंग एक्वायर पहचानने के लिए आफ्टर एक्विजिशन शेयर कैपिटल में कितना शेयर कौन सी कंपनी के शेयर होल्डर्स का रहता है आफ्टर। Which company shareholders are in controlling position here B company. So B company is the accounting acquirer. That is the accounting acquirer, purchasing company, even though legally A is acquiring B. इसी सम को हम आगे बढ़ाते हैं. आगे क्या लिखा है? द फेयर वैल्यूज ऑफ एंटिटी इज आइडेंटिफाइबल असेट्स एंड लायबिलिटी एट 30th September 2001. The date of acquisition is also 30th September and the fair value all are also given on the same date. Are the same as their carrying amounts. जो एक ही असेट्स है उस और लायबिलिटी उसकी सारी फेयर वैल्यू और कैरिंग अमाउंट सेम है, सिर्फ एक के अलावा, एक्सेप्ट दैट द फेयर वैल्यू ऑफ एंटिटी इज नॉन करंट असेट्स एट 30th September इज 1500. अब देखिए नॉन करंट असेट है कितनी, आपको देखना है. बी है, बी की जो है वो तो आपको जो बुक वैल्यू है वही लेना है. इसका कोई रिवैल्यूएशन दिया भी नहीं गया है नॉन करंट असेट्स का, 1100 है. और ए है, उसकी जो बुक वैल्यू है नॉन करंट असेट्स की जो 11 हाँ जी वो 400 है. और उसकी फेयर वैल्यू कितनी बताई गई है? 1500 है. ठीक है ना. तो 400 की जगह 1500 लेना है एक ही असेट्स का. अब ए कौन है? अक्वायरी है. अकाउंटिंग पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से देखेंगे तो अक्वायरी की असेट्स का ही हम फेयर वैल्यू पे लेते हैं, और जो अक्वायरर होता है उसको तो बुक वैल्यू पे ही लेते हैं. तो आप समझ लीजिए एंटिटी इज नॉन करंट असेट्स ऑन 30th September 2000 इज 1500. जी शायद मैंने अमाउंट लेने में गलती कर दी. नॉन असेट्स है ए की, जी ये अमाउंट लेने में गलती कर दी. अमाउंट काट दीजिए. अब बैलेंस शीट में जाइए, जो क्वेश्चंस दिया उसमें नॉन करंट असेट्स बी है, उसकी तो 3000 है तो उसको 3000 पे ही लेना है, उसका फेयर वैल्यू दिया भी नहीं गया है. लेकिन जो ए है उसकी 1300 है बुक वैल्यू, उसको 1500 पे लेना है. तो लाइन बाय लाइन एडिशन करेंगे तो 3000 प्लस 1500 दैट इज 4500 करेंगे. बाकी कोई असेट्स का आप देख सकते हो कोई रिवैल्यूएशन नहीं हुआ है, फिर भी हम चेक कर लेते हैं. बराबर. अब आगे सम्स पढ़ते. करंट असेट्स 100 एंड 100, नेट नॉन करंट असेट 1300 और 3000, उसमें से 1300 को 1500 हमने लिया यहाँ पे. लाइन बाय लाइन 4500 ऐड हो जाएगा. फिर टोटल असेट जो है 1800 और 3700 वो भी ऐड हो जाएगी. वो 1300 और 500 का टोटल ही है, तो उसको टोटल दोबारा ऐड करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. फिर करंट लायबिलिटीज़ है. करंट लायबिलिटीज़ 300 है, उसकी 600 है, उसमें कोई रिवॉल्यूशन नहीं है. नॉन करंट लायबिलिटीज़ 400 1100, उसमें भी कोई रिवॉल्यूशन नहीं है. टोटल लायबिलिटीज 700 और 300 400 700 और 600 और 1100 1700 है. फिर आप उसको क्वेश्चन को खोल दीजिए, अब फिर से आप पढ़ लीजिए. ठीक है, फिर से करते हैं. करंट असेट 500 700, ये नॉन करंट असेट्स एक ही हम रीवैल्यू करेंगे और 1500 प्लस 3000 4500 लिखेंगे. यहाँ पे ही आपको सिर्फ ध्यान रखना है और कोई सम में गलती नहीं हो सकती. तो एक ही जो असेट्स उसको ही हमें रीवैल्यू करना है, बाकी किसी के असेट्स को रीवैल्यू नहीं करना है. यानी कि बी की असेट्स को रीवैल्यू नहीं करना है बाकी किसी की, यानी कि सिर्फ बी बाकी बचा. बाकी टोटल असेट्स जो है वो 1800 में से आपको 500 और उसकी 1500 हो गई. फिर करंट लायबिलिटीज 300 और 600 को ऐड करना है. नॉन करंट लायबिलिटी 400 और 1100 700 और ये जो टोटल है, फिर हम ऑर्डिनरी शेयर्स में आ जाते हैं 100 शेयर्स, 60 शेयर्स, वो हम बाद में देखते हैं। फिर टोटल शेयर होल्डर्स इक्विटी, टोटल लायबिलिटीज एंड इक्विटी। अब नीचे आ जाते हैं, इसमें क्या लिखा, अज्यूम दैट द एंटिटी बीज अर्निंग्स फॉर द एनुअल पीरियड एंडेड 31 December 2000 was 1600 and that the consolidated earnings for the annual period ended 31st December 2000 were 800. Also assume that there was no change in the number of ordinary shares issued by the equity entity B during the annual period ended 31st December 2000 and during the period from 1st January 2001 to the date of the reverse acquisition. और ये जो होता है इसको रिवर्स एक्विजिशन कहते हैं। ए बी को एक्वायर कर रहा है लीगली, लेकिन अकाउंटिंग में बी ए को कर रहा है, उसको रिवर्स एक्विजिशन कहते हैं। Calculate the fair value of the consideration transferred, measure goodwill and prepare consolidated financial statements. उसमें दिया गया है आपको, सारे क्वेश्चंस में सारी इंफॉर्मेशन दी गई है। अब आप आंसर्स में आइए। जी, हमने जैसे देखा यहाँ पे बी लीगल अक्वायरर है, बी इज द अक्वायरर, बी इज द अक्वायरर है। जो हम नेटवर्थ मार्केट कैपिटलाइजेशन पे जाए तो बी इज द अक्वायर। तो अगर बी ए को अक्वायर कर रहा है तो बी ए को कितना चुकाएगा, 1600 चुकाएगा। तो परचेज कंसिडरेशन कितना हो गया, 1600। देखिए इसमें है ना, आपको थोड़ा ध्यान रखना है। मैं आपको इसमें बता देता हूँ। ए ने बी को शेयर्स इश्यू किए 2.5 शेयर्स फॉर एवरी 1 शेयर। तो ए ने बी को बी के जो शेयर्स थे 60 शेयर्स के बदले में कितने शेयर्स, तो 150 शेयर्स दिए, बराबर। तो ये तो हो गया लीगल एक्वायरर की बात। लेकिन अकाउंटिंग एक्वायर अगर चाहता है तो बी ए को एक्वायर करना चाहता है तो कितने प्राइस चुकाएगा, 1600 चुकाए, क्योंकि बी है सॉरी ए है, ए के 100 शेयर्स है और 100 शेयर्स है, उसके 100 शेयर्स की हर एक शेयर्स की प्राइस 16 रुपीज़ है, ठीक है। तो उसको बी को ए को 1600 रुपीज़ चुकाना होगा। तो इसी को हम परचेज कंसिडरेशन मानेंगे। हम अकाउंटिंग तो बी के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से कर रहे हैं, भले ही बी ने कुछ चुकाया नहीं है, लेकिन ये अकाउंटिंग के पर्पज़ के लिए परचेज कंसिडरेशन 1600 होगा। वो भी हम जब हम कंसोलिडेटेड बैलेंस शीट बनाएंगे, उसमें हम जब परचेज कंसिडर जो इक्विटी शेयर कैपिटल लिखेंगे ना, देखो मैं आपको दिखा, उन्होंने क्या किया है, आप सब में देख सकते हो, जो उसने कंसोलिडेटेड बैलेंस शीट बनाई है उसमें इक्विटी शेयर कैपिटल है, जो बी की पहले जो थी वो ही लिखी है कंसोलिडेट इक्विटी शेयर कैपिटल। तो उसमें नंबर ऑफ शेयर्स है ना, वो ए के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से लिखना है, नंबर ऑफ शेयर्स। तो ए के पास पहले शेयर्स थे 100 और उसने हर बी के हर एक शेयर्स की जगह पे 2.5 शेयर्स दिए, तो 60 की जगह पे 150 दिए। तो यहाँ पे 250 शेयर्स लिखने हैं। लेकिन जो यहाँ बाहर की कॉलम में इक्विटी शेयर कैपिटल जो लिखनी है ना, वो बी की लिखनी है। तो बी की कैपिटल आप देख सकते हो, समस में 600 दी हुई है, ठीक है, और वो 1600 इश्यू करेगा। अब इसमें कुछ शेयर प्रीमियम वगैरह का जिक्र नहीं किया हुआ है। हालांकि अगर वो शेयर इश्यू करता तो खुद की प्राइस है 40, तो 1600 डिवाइडेड बाय 1600 उसको पे करना है, डिवाइडेड बाय 40 पे शेयर्स इश्यू करता, 1600 डिवाइडेड बाय 40, तो 40 शेयर्स देता और उसमें 10 इंटू 40 400 आपका इक्विटी शेयर कैपिटल आता और 30 इंटू 40 1200 आपका शेयर प्रीमियम आता। लेकिन ये वाला कुछ बाइफर्केशन उन्होंने दिया नहीं है। उन्होंने पूरे के पूरे जो 1600 रुपये है, ये 400 और 1200 टोटल 1600 को उन्होंने पूरे के पूरे उन्होंने ले लिए है आपके जो शेयर कैपिटल है उसमें। तो यहाँ पे बी एक्वायरर है, तो बी के ये जो बाहर की कॉलम है जो शेयर कैपिटल की, यहाँ नंबर ऑफ शेयर्स है वो ए के जाएंगे, ए के पास 100 थे और बी को 150 दिए तो 250 हो जाएंगे, लेकिन इसकी शेयर कैपिटल है वो पूरी 1600 प्लस 1600 प्लस 600 प्लस 1600 2200 हो जाएगी। ये एक आपको ध्यान रखने लायक मुद्दा है। इसमें कंसोलिडेशन करते हैं। अब गुडविल निकालते हैं, उसने परचेस कंसिडरेशन कितना दिया और उसके सामने असेट्स कितनी मिली। ठीक है, तो हम ये गुडविल भी किसके पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से निकालनी है? बी के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से। बी इज अक्वायर, बी इज अकाउंटिंग अक्वायरर। अगर बी अकाउंटिंग अक्वायर होता है तो बी ने परचेस कंसिडरेशन कितना दिया? 1600। उसके पास 100 शेयर्स थे और हर एक शेयर्स की 16 रुपये प्राइस है। 100 शेयर्स इंटू 16 रुपीज़ पर शेयर। तो 1600 पीसी हो गया। उसके सामने उसको नेट असेट्स कितने की मिली? बी की पूरी एसेट्स ले लेनी है, सॉरी ए की, और उसमें जो रिवैल्यूएशन किया वो देनी है। यहाँ पे हम लिखते हैं करंट असेट 500, जगह कम है तो हम नेक्स्ट पेज पे आ जाते हैं। बीस नेट असेट्स, उसमें सबसे पहले है करंट असेट्स, सॉरी ए इज नेट असेट्स, आई माई मिस्टेक, क्योंकि ए लीगल अक्वायरी है। करंट असेट्स है 500, 500 लिखिए। फिर नॉन करंट असेट्स है जिसको रीवैल्यू भी किया गया है 1300 और प्लस 200 से रीवैल्यू किया गया तो वो 1500 पर पहुंच गया। फिर आता है टोटल असेट्स। तो अगर हम समझते हैं, फिर उसमें से आपको टोटल असेट्स हो गई 2000, उसमें से आप लायबिलिटीज़ को लेस कीजिए तो लायबिलिटी साइड है नॉन करंट लायबिलिटी, सॉरी करंट लायबिलिटीज जो है 300 और नॉन करंट लायबिलिटीज जो है 400, तो ये हो गई 700। तो उसकी नेट एसेट्स हो गई 2000 माइनस 700, तो 1300 नेट असेट्स अक्वायर्ड। और हमने पीसी कितना पे किया? पीसी पेड 1600, नेट असेट्स अक्वायर्ड 1300। So goodwill, whatever you paying excess in excess of the net identifiable asset is goodwill. It's for the reputation of the company, so that is 300. This is the working note. You can go ahead with the sum. उसके बाद आपको लाइन बाय लाइन एडिशन करना है, वो भी हम करते हैं। सबसे पहले हम शेयर होल्डर्स इक्विटी यानी शेयर होल्डर्स फंड के साइड, इक्विटी साइड, सबसे पहले इंड एएस के तहत असेट साइज लिखते हैं, तो असेट साइज लिखेंगे। आप आज ये दोनों की बैलेंस शीट में लाइन बाय लाइन एडिशन करते हैं। तो यहाँ पे तो कुछ ऐसा खास बाइफर्केशन नहीं दिया, फिर भी आप असेट्स में नॉन करंट असेट लिखते हैं। जो है 15, सबसे पहले बी की लिखेंगे 3000 प्लस 1500, जो रीवैल्यूड अमाउंट है, इस पे आप स्टार कर लीजिए। 3000 प्लस 1500 दैट इज 4500। उसके बाद है करंट असेट्स। करंट असेट्स का टोटल होगा 700। बी की पहले लिखेंगे क्योंकि लीगल अक्वायरर बी है। 700 उसको कैरिंग अमाउंट पे लिखेंगे, अगर रीवैल्यू किया होगा तो एक की करंट एसेट भी रीवैल्यू करके लिखेंगे। उसका 500 का 500 ही है, तो 1200 हो जाएगा। तो असेट साइज का जो टोटल हो गया, और तो कुछ रीवैल्यू किया नहीं है। 4500 प्लस 1200 दैट इज, और गुड, हाँ जी, और इंटेंजिबल असेट भी है जो आपको लिखनी है गुडविल। करंट एसेट्स के पहले आपको यहाँ पे लिखना है गुडविल। जो गुडविल आपने निकाली 300, तो आपका टोटल हो जाएगा 5700 प्लस 300, तो 6000 आपका टोटल हो जाएगा। अब लायबिलिटी साइड आते हैं। इसमें आते हैं शेयर होल्डर्स फंड। देखो यहाँ पे लीगल अक्वायरर कौन है और अकाउंटिंग अक्वायर कौन है। जो नंबर ऑफ शेयर्स है ना, वो लीगल अक्वायरर के लिखेंगे। जो लीगल अक्वायरर है ए के 100 शेयर्स तो ऑलरेडी थे, और उसने 2.5 शेयर्स अगेंस्ट ईच शेयर्स हेल्ड बाय बी दिए। तो बी के पास 60 शेयर्स थे, तो 60 इंटू 2.5 यानी 150 दिए। तो 150 शेयर्स ए ने बी को दिए, तो लीगल एक्वायरर के 250 शेयर्स हो गए। लेकिन शेयर कैपिटल है ना, वो हम अकाउंटिंग अक्वायर की लिखेंगे। तो शेयर कैपिटल कितनी लिखेंगे आप बताइए। तो अकाउंटिंग अक्वायर जो है बी, उसकी शेयर कैपिटल 600 तो है ही, और उसने पूरे पीसी पे करने के लिए 1600 चुकाई, क्योंकि उसके जो शेयर्स है 100 शेयर्स है ए के, और उसकी 16 रुपीज़ प्राइस है। तो यहाँ पे 2200 लिखेंगे। यही मेन पॉइंट है पूरे सम का। लायबिलिटी साइड जो है ना, उसमें अंदर के कॉलम में ए के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से करना है, और बाहर के कॉलम में बी के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से करना है, बी को अक्वायर लेके। यही पूरा सम का क्रक्स है। फिर रिटेन अर्निंग्स आपको लिखनी होती है। वो लिखेंगे अब देखिए, जब कंसोलिडेशन होता है, हम अभी भी यहाँ पे भी आपको बी के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से ही करना है। तो आप इसमें 1400 लिख सकते हैं। आपको ए की नहीं लिखनी है, क्योंकि पूरा कोई पोस्ट प्रॉफिट ऐसे दिया नहीं हुआ है। ये देख लेते हैं, उसके सम्स को अच्छे से पढ़ लेते हैं। यहाँ पे रिटेन अर्निंग्स जो दी हुई है, उन्होंने क्वेश्चन के टेबल के नीचे के पैराग्राफ में लिखा है कि जो रिटेन अर्निंग है, assume that the B's earnings for the annual period 31st December 2000 were 600। यानी कि ये जो 31st दिसंबर 2001 को हमको कंसोलिडेशन करना है, लेकिन कैलकुलेट द फेयर वैल्यू, सॉरी, हमको जो कंसोलिडेशन करना है वो आफ्टर एक्विजिशन तुरंत ही करना है। तो हमारे जब साल की शुरुआत थी ऑन डेट ऑफ एक्विजिशन, हमारी खुद की जो रिटेन अर्निंग थी, और साल की शुरुआत में कितनी थी। साल की शुरुआत में रिटेन अर्निंग हमारी ओपनिंग थी बी की 600, and that consolidated earning for the annual period ended 31st दिसंबर वर 800 और कंसोलिडेटेड दी उन्होंने 800। तो इन्होंने ये पूरे टोटल करके 1400 लिया हुआ है। तो रिटर्न अर्निंग 1400 है। उसके बाद आ जाते हैं हम लायबिलिटीज़ में। सबसे पहले नॉन करंट लायबिलिटी जो है 1100 प्लस 400 इज इक्वल टू 1500। ये बी है, अक्वायरर की पहले लिखते हैं फिर ए की लिखते हैं 1100, फिर करंट लायबिलिटी वो हो गई 600 प्लस 300 900, 1500 और 900 2400 हो गया। टोटल कर लेते हैं। ये रिटर्न अर्निंग 1400 था, 2400 प्लस 1400 और उससे पहले इक्विटी शेयर कैपिटल था 2200। तो हो गया आपका 6000 टोटल। यहाँ पे आप ग्रांड टोटल लगा सकते हैं इक्विटी एंड लायबिलिटी साइड्स का 6000। अब यही चीज़ उन्होंने मॉड्यूल में समझाई, उसका आंसर्स पढ़ते हैं। उन्होंने क्या लिखा है वो हम पढ़ सकते हैं। आइडेंटिफाइंग द अक्वायरर। अब इसमें भी मैं इसमें ही ले जाता हूँ आपको। As a result of entity A issuing 150 ordinary shares, entity B shareholder owns 60% of the issued share capital of the combined entity, that is 150 out of 250. The remaining 40% are owned by entity A's existing shareholders. Thus, the transaction is determined to be a reverse acquisition in which B is identified as the accounting acquirer while A is legal acquirer. If the business combination had taken in the form of entity B issuing additional shares, ये क्या कैलकुलेशन तो फेयर वैल्यू उसमें बी ने जो शेयर्स दिए, इफ द बिजनेस कॉम्बिनेशन हैड टेकन the form of entity B issuing additional shares to entity A shareholders in exchange for their ordinary shares in entity A. Entity B have had to issue 40 shares for the ratio of ownership interest and the combined entity to the same. Entity B shareholders would then own 60 out of the 100 shares of B, 60% of the combined entity. As a result, fair value of the consideration effectively transferred by entity B and group's interest in entity A is 1640 shares with the fair value of 40। जो हमने आगे देख ही लिया है 1600 पे करने के लिए आपको 1600 डिवाइडेड बाय 40 करना है। तो आप 40 शेयर्स करेंगे, उसमें 30 रुपये का शेयर प्रीमियम और 10 रुपये का शेयर कैपिटल, 1200 400 1600 होंगे। और 1600 हो जाए 40 शेयर्स देंगे तो हमारे खुद के 60 शेयर्स तो है ही और उनको 40 देंगे तो टोटल 60 शेयर हो जाएंगे और हम ही खुद ओनर रहेंगे। इसमें एक कंपनी की तरह नहीं हो रहा है कि भाई वो खुद माइनॉरिटी में आ जा रहे हैं, उनके खाली 100 और बाहर वालों के 150। इसमें हमारे 60 और बाहर वालों के 40 रह रहे। तो इसमें तो दिख रहा है कि हम ही एक्वायरर दिख रहे हैं बी कंपनी। द फेयर वैल्यू ऑफ द consideration effectively transfer should be based on the most reliable measure. Here the quoted market price of entity A shares provides a more reliable basis for measuring the consideration effectively transfer rather than the estimated fair value of the shares in entity B, and the consideration is measured using the market price of entity A shares 100 shares with the fair value of 100 शेयर ऑफ 16। ठीक है, फिर हमने गुडविल निकाल ली। इस तरह से हमने कंसिडरेशन 1600 पे किया जो उसके 100 शेयर्स इंटू 16 रुपीज़ है और उसकी एसेट्स है ये 1300। तो हमने 300 गुडविल पे की। फिर उसमें इस तरह से हमने कंसोलिडेटेड बैलेंस शीट भी बना ली, करंट असेट्स, नॉन करंट असेट्स, गुडविल और नॉन करंट। फिर इस तरह से आप देख सकते हो उन्होंने लायबिलिटीज़ पहले लिखा है, फिर इक्विटी शेयर होल्डर्स इक्विटी लिखा है जिसमें 1600 प्लस 600 और रिटेन अर्निंग। अब इसका आपको ईपीएस भी निकालना है. ईपीएस का सिचुएशन उन्होंने क्या, नंबर ऑफ शेयर्स deemed to be outstanding for the period from 1st January 2000 to the acquisition date. The number of ordinary shares issued by entity A, legal parent, in a reverse combination. 150 shares तो थे ही, उसने इश्यू किए 16 to 2.5 150. नंबर ऑफ शेयर्स आउटस्टैंडिंग फ्रॉम द एक्विजिशन डेट टू 31 दिसंबर, उसमें 250 हो गए. तो पहले 9 महीने के लिए 150 शेयर्स रहे और बाकी के 3 महीने के लिए 250 शेयर्स रहे. जो उसको टोटल वेटेड एवरेज नंबर ऑफ शेयर्स हो गया 175 और अर्निंग है 800. तो 800 डिवाइडेड बाय 175, 4.5. रीस्टेटेड अर्निंग per share for the annual period 31st December is 4. Calculating the entities calculated as the earnings of entity B of 600 divided by number of ordinary shares entity A issued in the reverse acquisition 150. ठीक है.